So today I will be talking about online teaching and assessment. Why did I choose this topic? I chose it because I feel like online teaching and assessments are ever present in today's curriculum. Especially with COVID-19, online teaching has become something that we face every day. This has been something new to all of us, but something ever so prevalent. What is online teaching? Online teaching is teaching and education that is delivered via the internet. That goes for assessments as well. The ITSE standards that are discussed in brief are LEADER, that's the adoption of new digital resources, Citizen, that fosters digital literacy and media fluency, Designer, foster independent learning, and Facilitator, digital platforms and virtual environments. So that's just in brief. I really enjoyed this quote from one of my sources, and the guy who said it is Matthew Allen. He says, "The internet is changing the way knowledge work is done in society," and there's really so much truth in this statement. Every day the internet changes and there's new technology being released, and that is changing how we work in every day, whether that be the classroom or any other job. And so as that is changing, we also need to be open to change and adapt to that. So the first thing I want to speak on is the importance of online teaching and assessment. So the relevance and importance is first and foremost. It's 2020. We have really just faced the year of online learning across the world, really, due to COVID-19. This has been the first year, I would say, online learning has really been put into test. Next is communication. There's internet-based communication, and this includes social media. A lot of communication is done through using internet and technology, including email, text message, and all this kind of stuff. So it's really important that we talk about it and we understand what it is. And then also, we need to stay relevant to the times because technology is always developing and it's important to stay relevant. As I said earlier, as technology develops and changes, so do we. It's not that the old ways are not relevant anymore or not important, but we just need to keep up. So there are pros and cons to online teaching and assessments. So the pros is that it's flexible and accessible. So that means you can pull out your laptop when you have internet, or you can pull out your cell phone and submit an assignment and do something on your lunch break or on the bus. It's really given more time to do schoolwork. There are customized learning experiences, and I touch on this later. But it allows for that customization because we aren't in a full classroom setting. And then we also learn a lot about digital information literacy. Some of the cons are not everyone has access to internet, nor do they have access to technology. And that's been a big problem in my hometown. My mom's a teacher, and a lot of these kids don't have access to internet and technology, so it has made this transition a lot harder. I think something we can all vouch for is the isolation aspect of online learning. It is difficult not having that face-to-face relationships with your peers and your teachers, so I think that's really big. And then also there can be an information overload where we are given so much information, whether it be how to work a certain thing on your device or how to do your work and then your homework, and it can just become a lot. So some more things that are great about online learning and assessment are the accessibility. Students will be encouraged to do coursework in more spaces, like I mentioned, on the bus and during lunch breaks. Skills you can gain are independence, and computer skills are increased, and you learn time management because a lot of people have part-time jobs during this, or there's more than one thing going on. And then also we learn digital literacy, which is communication online and how to act while using the internet, and another word for that is netiquette. The next thing I want to touch on are the statistics, and these are broad. Mostly my statistics come from the university level. So these are the percent of classes moved online, and since COVID-19 on the university level, 97% of classes have been moved online and 3% has not. And then this is also on a university level. 33% of students believe that synchronous sessions are considered very helpful compared to the 17% who did not have synchronous sessions. And then 85% of students think that online classes are as good as or better than in-person classes. And these are some statistics that I got from a study that was done in China, and this is from this year since COVID. 97.2% of parents, and this was done with a kindergarten class, reported that their children has online learning during their pandemic, and 84.6% say that the time spent is less than half an hour each time they are doing their online learning, and 20.6% of parents interacted with the teacher at least once a day. And I think that part is awesome right there, because the more that parents and teachers interact with each other, the more they can find a common ground for students, and I think that can ultimately be such a great benefit. The last thing I really want to touch on are the uses and resources and examples of online teaching and assessments. So a big one is a flipped classroom, and we talked about that this semester. So on one end, students watch lectures at home. Activities and homework are completed in class. So this is kind of similar to what things started looking like this year, with more of our learning being done on our own, and then we used, on at least in some of my classes, our class time for examples and practice. And then this allows for individualized learning, so students can move at their own pace. And so the teacher, as the students progress at home, the teacher can work one-on-one with the students in class at their own level, at their own pace. But then on the other hand, not everyone has access to internet at home, and then not everyone learns best in front of a screen. And if every classroom was a flipped classroom, then a lot of students would be sitting in front of a screen for hours at home. And then also, not all students are going to do their part, which is a big part of this. Some examples, Zoom is huge. It's a video communications app. I think we're all familiar with it. Google Forms is a survey and quiz software, which is more so used with assessments. Class Dojo is something I've actually seen used in an elementary classroom, and it's a student behavior app, and students have their own little avatars, and it's kind of like a token economy system, and your parents also, or your guardians, are also able to get involved. And then Project is a tool for multimedia presentations similar to what I'm using right now. I'm using Screencast, but Project is something very similar. So I want to harp a little bit more on 3 of these. So Zoom is a virtual video and audio meetings. You can have webinars, live chats, and screen sharing. This is mainly used, at least for me, and I've had interviews through Zoom, and all my classes are on Zoom, so I definitely understand this one very well. And so here on the left, you can see a Zoom screen, and I would say it's mostly used on computers, but it's not limited to computers because I've used it on my phone as well. Here's Class Dojo. So some of the things for that, it builds relationships with student, teacher, and families. You can send photos, videos, and messages, and it creates a positive environment. So as these students earn their dojo points, this leads to less, I don't want to say less classroom management, but it reinforces positive behaviors. And so this is a picture of it on a tablet to the left. Because a lot of students do have tablets now in elementary schools, and then also parents are able to look on. And then the last thing I have to talk about are Google Forms, and on this you can do quizzes, surveys, polls, or you can just collect information. I have used this so much in the last 8 years of, or 6 years of my education, including high school. And so I've had to make them, but I've also filled them out. They're super easy, and you can customize them to where it's not just multiple choice, so it's versatile. And this is a picture on a phone because you can do it on a phone, you can do it on a laptop. It's accessible across multiple devices, which is great. And then to finish, these are my references for my project, and that concludes my presentation on digital assessment and learning.